Hello everybody, I'm here today with another educational ASMR video. The reasons I have the lights off is because I've noticed my last few videos have been like more loud and not as soft spoken as before, so I wanted to try doing one like that now. Today I will be talking about the cruise ship industry and the dark side to the fact that they use flags of convenience and how this affects labor within cruise ships. Now, I will not be talking about the cruise ship industry in terms of how the coronavirus outbreak has affected it. It's not a surprise that a disease outbreak would affect cruise line companies to such an extent. And money is being lost left and right with them. This is a fact. This is a fact that we can't ignore. And the handling of the Diamond Princess was, and there were 4 cases like that, but the handling of the Diamond Princess itself was atrocious to say the least. But this is not about the spread of diseases on cruises. This is not about the cruise industry during the pandemic. I am talking about before the pandemic. I just really want to make that quite clear because I think that's important to say. Also, the pandemic is a reason that I'm doing this now, because right now is a great time to spread awareness of the immoral and sketchy behaviors that the cruise ship industry has. It's an incredibly sketchy business. They're horrible for the environment, labor laws, even the people on board. The only people that really benefit from cruises are those who own the big companies, those working in the big companies. So I'm just going to be talking about that. And by the way, if you've been on a cruise, I'm not calling you evil. I have been on a cruise once. I went, I'm going to say 3 years ago, 4 years ago. It was fine. It was nothing like, I didn't know about the industry back then. And if I probably knew as much as I know today, then I probably wouldn't have gone. But yeah, my parents went on their first one ever a couple of months ago, and just to see what it was about, my mom texted me like 2 days and being like, I don't like this. But anyways, yeah, I just, so I'm not saying like, if you do it, you're evil. I'm just trying to expose the dark side to the cruise ship industry, because I think now more than ever is a time when we can take advantage of a industry that has immoral practices, and maybe try to shrink it. We can all do our part. So my main point is, if you have a cruise that has been canceled, get your refund from the company and don't book with them again. I think that would be a really big step in trying to not make it as big as it is, because it is an unregulated industry. With that said, let's get started. Also, I wanted to say I'm not going to be focusing so much on the environmental factors. As an unregulated business, it's really hard to determine the exact cost, the exact environmental costs that cruise ships have. But in short, it's terrible for the environment. I don't know if you've ever been to Venice, for example, and you see these massive cruise ships passing Venice, in it's such a small water, and they're just passing it. It's disgusting. I find that horrible. They pollute our waters. They contribute to CO2 emissions a lot, and they don't even pay for that. So, I mean, they pay some of it, but since, as I will get into, it's not a regulated industry, I can't even comprehend it. I really do want to focus on the more labor part of it. First thing we will be going into, of course, is the business of cruise ships. Have you ever wondered why a cruise ship is so cheap? Like those mainstream ones, okay? So the cruise ship industry, of course, pre-coronavirus, is the fastest growing tourism industry, at least in the United States. Again, pre-coronavirus, let's just pretend that doesn't exist because I can't talk about what will happen or whatever, but was the fastest growing in the United States, and still is. Many people are attracted to the idea of this cheap holiday that seems all-inclusive because I think when you pay, you have your food, and if your food included some food, that's around it. There's still a lot of things to pay for once you're there. I'll get to that in a second. So I mean, I was wondering as well, how is it that the average, so I'm gonna say here, the average cruise ship costs, oh my god, so many minutes, $150 to $200 a night per person, some even costing as low as $70 a night per person. It really depends on the type of cruise that you go on. Now, so cruises, the ships themselves, they last around 25 years. They're massive, I'm talking about these massive, have you seen them, these massive ones that have water slides, and I went boogie boarding in one of them, how the water's coming down and going pools, they have casinos, I'm gonna get into. They have massive restaurants and massive dining areas, lounges, bars. Really, there's a lot to see on a cruise ship, but they're huge. They can hold, I think some of the cruise one of the biggest ones can hold 5,000 people, and that is insane. So here is a quote that I have taken from a book called J. Leisure and Tourism Marketing, Volume 1, and this is from page 214. I will link the paper down below. I'm sorry that I don't know what the author's name up with this quote. It was made by a few people, so I'll just put that link down below. And there are strong barriers to ingress in the cruise market, like license restrictions, heavy capital requirements, increasing economics of sales. Therefore, the cruise market has an that's not like a monopoly, an structure. There are where major companies dominate the supply of the sector. These companies strategically make capacity investment decisions in order to block entries by new competitors to increase the market share and inducing new demand. The reason I'm saying this is because I'm about to talk about how the cruise ship industry is mainly run by 3 major holding companies. That's my cat. And yeah, she wants to own a cruise ship company, and I keep telling her meow no, and she doesn't listen. I don't know why she's really into it when I talk about boats. Boaz, come here. Boaz. Say hello, Boaz. Boaz has a lot to say. Boaz hasn't been on a cruise because I don't let her, and she really wants to go flying. She really wants to go out of the country, but not yet. Not yet. It's cool if I have pink lipstick. I love her so much. Okay, so I'm gonna hold her for a bit. It's like having a baby, I swear. Okay, sorry, I'm getting distracted here. Okay, so the cruise ship industry is mainly run by 3 major holding companies: Carnival Corporation, Royal Caribbean Cruises Ltd, and Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings, and they account for around 75% of the cruise market. So these companies, as I said, are holding companies. So they run different kinds of cruise lines within their company. So Carnival Cruises owns Costa Cruises, etc. So if you're taking a cruise, even though it doesn't say it's Norwegian Cruises, probably is, it might be owned by them. So most likely those are the ones that you're taking. And what I said before, it has very high barriers to entry. It's dominated the market by these 3 big companies, and actually that is not an issue I really have with cruise ships. That is not the biggest issue I have. I'll get to my biggest issue. So there are mainstream cruise lines and luxury cruise lines. And I think I'll be talking about the mainstream ones. I feel like this also applies to luxury cruise lines, but I think mainly the mainstream ones, because those are the ones that have those really cheap deals and whatnot. So mainstream cruise lines are the ones which are the cheapest. They sell their tickets at a loss. So the average price, I think it was $1,200 for a week. So they're aware that they're selling it at a loss, but they expect people to buy stuff on board. So I think I was in mainstream. I was in a Royal Caribbean one, and I remember like it was weird. Like, you know, it was like a huge shopping mall. I had a good time. I went with my ex-boyfriend's family, and I had a good time. I'm not here to upset that time or to say that, you know, I'm ungrateful. Like, I really did have a great time, but it was like being in a big shopping mall, like where your room is, and then you walk and you pass by stores, you pass by bars. Alcohol was not included, which was weird for me. I know, boys, it sucks when alcohol's not included. Chaz. And okay. Boaz heard alcohol was not included, and she was like, I'm out of here. You also can't bring liquor on board. That's one of the reasons why. They make a lot of a profit off of that. But one of their biggest profits are in the casino. So, also, you're in the middle of nowhere on a ship. I just had this written down, I wasn't looking. So if you need something, it's the only place to buy it. I remember I had to buy like shampoo and conditioner, and it cost $20 for like a Pantene one or whatever. So, I mean, I could have waited until I disembarked, but the hair would need to be washed. But yeah, goods and stuff like that, they cost a lot. Alcohol costs a lot. But you do have tax-free shopping as well on cruises. I think you do. I think you do, yeah. I think you have some tax-free shopping. I don't really know, actually. I assume it is. I don't remember. I should stop talking about stuff I don't know. So yeah, if you want a beer, one place to get it, that bar. And they're gonna overcharge you. The average person spends around $500 on each cruise. So, if you manage not to get into the temptation of buying anything, the cruise line will be losing money off of you. But that is barely ever the case. The casino element of cruises is also very big. So once you reach, I think it's 12 kilometers off a main coast, so you have the coast, 12 kilometers outside of that, that's when you get into international waters, and that's when the rules of the flag the ship is registered, which is going to be a flag of convenience, and I'll get to that. Trust me, I'll get to that. That's where those rules apply, and it has a very low regulation usually, and that's why gambling is a really big thing on cruises, because there's little regulation around it. Casinos on cruise ships are one of the most depressing things I've ever seen. I mean, like, yeah. So, and there's also luxury cruise ships, which only hold a couple of hundred passengers. Because unlike the mainstream ones, which hold thousands, these ones only hold a couple of hundred, and their ticket prices are paid up front. Now, luxury cruise lines are also a part of Norwegian, Royal Caribbean, and Carnival. They have cruise, like they're holding companies, right? So they hold cruise lines which cater to each of these. That way they're able to cater to a big market. So let's think of these ships like planes. When they aren't on a voyage, they are losing money because they're massive. They're like $500 million worth of boat. So they always have to constantly be traveling, and this is one way that they make money. They're constantly going on board. You will rarely, except for now, see a cruise ship that is just chilling out. So you have voyages depending on seasonal attraction, on the country, depending on where where it is like what, so like, you know, the Bahamas would be pretty interesting in the winter for whatever, and then summer you go to Europe. And then they also have to take these ships across the ocean, right? And those also have passengers on it. There are one-way tickets that you can go on. You can go on like a freaking week cruise without ever stopping at a port. I hate boats, so that sounds like my personal LA. I don't get that. But each their own, each their own. The turnaround for a boat going into its port and leaving again is very quick. It's very organized, it's very efficient. So the cruise industry is very, very efficient, which is how it makes a lot of money and how it seems like a deal that, it seems like a deal. It costs very little money and you're able to, you know, go on this really, what seems like a cool vacation. But now I'm going to talk about the price for it. And this is one of the videos I link in my source. He says the Patriot Act. I forgot if there's that video, that guy. He says once you do research into something, like everything sucks. So it doesn't matter if you're a cruise ship, which has headquarters in Miami. It doesn't matter if you have offices in Italy. A company can register their boat with any country that they choose. This is called a flag of convenience, and they usually choose countries with lax labor laws. The most popular countries that cruise ships register with are Panama, Libya, and the Bahamas. Panama has like 4,000 ships registered to them. So they register to these companies because they have very, very, very lax regulation when it comes to taxes, environmental law, and labor laws. So why does this matter? Well, these companies are picked because of blah, 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 what I just said. And I just have a quote that I wanted to mention. So, flags of convenience allow cruise ships to be exempt from multiple tax responsibilities and implement lenient standards of safety, undergo few environmental inspections, operating costs low, recruit staff without national or international regulations. That's page 223 from the source I have down below that I used before. So, again, when at sea 12 kilometers away from the mainland, the laws which apply to the ship are of the country that it is registered to. Something really upsetting is that the average wage of a cruise ship worker is $1.80 an hour, which is nothing. It's completely, it's nothing. And you know, you're also living in these they're also living in these harsh conditions. You know, cruise ships might seem nice, but where they live is not the room on a cruise ship. It's a tiny little cramped room, barely have internet access. Like, I mean, from what I've heard of people that work on cruise ships, they don't have the internet access for free. Let's pay for it. They do get food, but again, it doesn't justify the amount of hours that they work per day. This is a quote from Business Insider. Often signed to 6 or 8 month contracts, cruise ship employees can work 7 days a week for a minimum of 12 hours per day. Jim Walker, the maritime lawyer for Walker and O'Neill, said, and that can occur while making anywhere from around $550 to $2,000 per month. It's nothing. For working over 12 hours a day, that is nothing. That is, you know, and 7 days a week, there's no law that says that they need to have a day off. This is one of my biggest issues with the cruise line industry. There is no regulations for these workers, and some can't even take any days off, as I mentioned before. Working these long hours and barely getting paid and sleeping in these cramped spaces. Labor workers in this industry have reported cases of discrimination, rape, sexual harassment, all these problems that are happening within a company, and nothing is being done about it. Why? Because when crime happens within a cruise ship, when it's away from sea. It is the port of registry of that company, of where the boat is, to take care of that. And that does not exclude passengers either. Crime committed on cruise ships are very likely to go unpunished, especially sexual harassment and rape. Sorry to say that, I don't know how relaxing that word is, and I know it's an awful word, but it's very prevalent on cruise ships, and nothing gets done about it. There is the Death of the High Seas Act, which would allow the FBI to intervene in certain cases, but these cases have to be reported by the cruise company to the FBI. And what cases they choose to report, it's up to them. Because of their flag of convenience and port of registry, they have all these lax laws. It makes it completely unregulated. This gives less right to passengers on board when signing and agreeing to the terms and conditions when buying your ticket. They also state that they're able to quarantine you into your room. They say a lot of crazy shit on there. And that's what happened with the Diamond Princess. People were quarantined in their room for 2 weeks. How is that ethical? It just made the virus spread worse within that cruise ship, and not to mention the workers that were on that cruise ship, and they got really infected by it. Anyways, so that's just a little bit about the cruise ship industry. I really just wanted to focus on more of the labor part of it, and how, like, first of all, how it works in the labor part of it. It depresses me a lot. I think it's disgusting. It is completely unregulated, and I think that if there was some sort of regulation, that this would change. But it is the reason that cruises are able to be so cheap. I don't think there's such thing as a cheap vacation. Someone's paying, and what am I to say that you can't do it or not? Tell me your opinion below. If you think that I am being a snob, or if I'm wrong, or if you don't agree with me, I'd love to have that discussion with you. So leave it down below, leave your opinion. I'd love to hear what you think. But personally, I think that it's time to put this industry to an end. It doesn't pay taxes to the countries that it should. It doesn't help stimulate the economy in any way that we can see. People are just being taken advantage of. Not only that, it also disrupts the ports that it goes to. But I'll get into that maybe another time. I just wanted to talk about this, and thought now was a good time. Okay. Bye, lovelies. I hope you sleep well.